Okay.
It says diverse interest, it doesn't say residency.
Okay. Well, he's got it stricken. Oh, he's got it changed, so he still has it in here.
He's just inserted in the paragraphs in front of it. It's the same language as was in there.
Okay. So, if, okay, that's what I want to bring up. I just wanted to know clarification, because I was asked the question. This is what's new.
If I might ask, I think, would it be possible that we maybe modify the wording? I guess my concern is, I don't think everybody on the board has to have a strict knowledge of aviation per se. If you have people at large that, that are familiar with the surroundings and the city, and they have a pulse on what their neighbors want or would like to see and growth, I think those are all valid points.
Well, we're not recommending that they have aviation experience.
Pardon?
We're not, are you saying that?
No, and maybe that's because that's the impression I got sometimes looking at that in order to be on the board, you have to have some type of aviation background in some way, shape, or form, and I don't think that should be the case. If you're part of this valley, or Heber City, then you should have every right to be on this board. Because I think we have enough people on the board now, and have in the past, that have enough aviation background that we should be able to muddle through. I don't want people to think that the only people that can be on the board are people that are from the airport or have a vested interest in the airport, other than because every neighbor of mine is essentially an owner of that airport. That's their airport. That's not my airport. It's not your airport. It's not yours. It's not the FBO's airport. It belongs to the city. So they should have a say, or be able to have a say.
I think Catherine Berger was a good example of somebody that could do an exceptional job in that list.
Well, in my thing is, we're giving the FBO a position because he's got a substantial investment.
Correct.
So do a lot of others on the thing. So I'm saying, I think it's only fair to get the definition in there, to give the other hangar owners. If you're on if you own property on the airfield, I think you should qualify. But that's my own thing.
To be clear, I'm not trying to argue that at all. I'm just maybe opening it up to
a specific position to the FBO. I don't think we can say, well, everybody else doesn't qualify in the field. So, if you're not a resident. So, I think it needs some clarification, maybe recommendations. Council,
I think you could have,
if so desired.
I think you could have hangar owners out there, like at Dell, for instance, you could qualify under Section 6.
Yeah.
He's got a diverse interest in the area.
Yeah. Well, and I'm okay, if the two qualify under 6, I think, that eliminates getting rid of the 3/4 right now, which is okay if they want to be. I'm just saying, that's just an example today, but it needs to be, it's something, we're going to change this now, we're going to move on, and we're going to have some snafus in the future. That's what we need to decide. Say, that's what we need to think about. But anyway, the other comment I guess I had on paragraph D, I think we need to send recommendation. I'd like to get a clarification on making sure that we keep the administrative section of government separated from the legislative. This could be conceived as they have to be confirmed by city council. Is that true? I thought they were appointed by the mayor.
They're appointed by the mayor with advice and consent of the city council.
Okay, advice and consent. So the mayor still makes the decision, but if the council doesn't consent to it, then
He's got to keep coming up with names until
he gets one. Okay. So that's the same as what it is now.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not right.
That was the question.
The camera's shaking at you.
Okay.
I didn't.
thought the mayor could appoint, and he doesn't need the advice and consent of the council.
I think that's only true with the Heber Light and Power Board.
The other boards, he has to have,
Advice and consent of council.
okay.
Yeah, bylaws of the light power were very clear as to how that's defined. So he can have the chair, the chair of the Heber Light Power Board has the right to appoint who they want.
Right.
So in his capacity as the chair of the Heber Light Power Board, he can't, but it's different for the boards of the city.
If, I don't know the answer to the reason for the question. I was just, something to clarify if it's anything, if it's not understood.
No? You got a question? No?
Go ahead.
I just have one question on paragraph B, section 1. It says a minimum of at least one city council member with the option at the discretion of the city council or a second council member. Is that at the discretion of the council or
No,
at the
that's
discretion of the mayor?
Discretion of the mayor.
The way it's written, it would be at the discretion of the council.
I think,
The mayor would determine who those two council members were, but
but if
the council would
mayor-
determine whether they have one or two members on the board.
let's back up from that. Let's just make sure the intent's correct. Go ahead.
I just want to throw in a thought here. Those of us who live in Heber Valley have a vested interest in the noise level of the airport. And as we expand that, if we expand it, to have larger and larger airplanes here, it becomes a big concern. And so it seems like a residency here in Heber Valley should be very important.
I think we all concur with that.
No, which you have.
Which you
Right
have.
now.
Except as a large airplane.
No, we have.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess what I said, mean by concur, I mean, the Heber City residents should definitely have a say. And that's what we're trying to preserve in, changing this document.
Now you got another question.
Good.
Chairman McQuarrie, I'm sorry, I'm not sure I know everyone here in the room, so the gentleman that just spoke, for the record, I would like your name, please.
Dennis Jensen.
Thank you.
May I, before taking any more questions, can I just, let's just get back to the question at hand. A second city council member or a non-council member, still has to be appointed. The mayor has the option to say who he appoints. If he doesn't appoint a second council member, he can also recommend appointing somebody else.
Not the way it's written.
Okay, well,
The council, the way it's written, the council determines whether or not one or two members of the council would serve. And then the mayor would determine who we would appoint out of that, who would council.
So basically, the council gives them the appointing direction. Meaning
Well,
the
so how
council,
many?
you got one or two. So you got one or two.
So it should be that it's up to the mayor with approval of the city council.
That's correct. That was the intent of my motion.
And that isn't the way it's written here, so we need to change that.
The intent of my motion would have been minimum one, and the mayor has the option if he wants to put a second council member or if he wants to appoint
So
someone.
instead of saying at the discretion of the city council, we'll say at the discretion of the mayor with approval of the city council.
Yes. Question?
Yeah.
I'm just going to come up here, it's easier. Tracy Taylor. I just have one question, and you had mentioned it earlier, so I'm just going to bring it up. I actually do have concerns about the current board right now making determinations to alter the bylaws, which right now some of the members on your board don't even qualify to be sitting on the board. That's a concern to me as a taxpayer, and of Heber City, because you have a fiduciary duty, so does the city council, to protect the citizens of Heber City on an airport board or a city council. And my concern is hearing some of the last couple airport issues, as far as, you know, the airport hangar owners having issues with the deviation report, that they didn't think it was a valid report to be sending off to the council, and then this airport board ends up proposing that deviation be the report that goes to the city council. I mean, right there, we've got airport hangars that are not agreeing with some of the airport board's decisions. My concern as a taxpayer and as a resident of Heber City is our fiduciary duty being thought about here as you board members, some of which are not residents of Wasatch County, are making decisions on changing bylaws that right now you do not fill the criteria to be sitting on the board at this point. My question to you, and you brought it up, is who is in charge of changing these bylaws and making recommendations to the city council? And at this point, I'm just stepping back going, we're going down this road a little too far, discussing ins and outs of what your recommendation to the city council is. And at this point, I feel uncomfortable with some of the decisions that are being made here, because this is not a properly constituted board right now. Mark Anderson, you know what I'm talking about, I believe.
No,
that
I had this discussion this morning with the legal counsel.
And he thinks this is fine for this board right now to be making recommendations to the city council
Yes,
on changing the bylaws.
he did. He talked with Dave Church about it, specifically with the paragraph, membership will include persons of diverse interests from throughout the cities and counties, suburbs of Wasatch County. It doesn't say residency. These folks have business interests in this county, and he was comfortable with them sitting on the board based on that interpretation.
Okay, and
Tracy,
just-
can I pay up for a minute?
yeah, you bet. I just
Yeah.
wanted to bring that up now, so.
Hey, you know, this isn't new, this isn't a new question, and, you know, your interpretation, your opinions, we appreciate it. But, you know, I don't know that I agree, because before I sat on this board, I should make sure I qualify, because if I don't want to be appointed. So, if I'm not here because I'm not supposed to, if you're insinuating that I'm a query,
Well, and you're not the only non-resident
I
right
get
now,
it.
so.
So what I'm saying is, you know, we get asked all the time, but I think we are following the bylaws of what we're saying. You know, and I think we have the authority to do what we're doing.
Well, and as a citizen, that's all I'm bringing up right now, before we go down the road a little too
Okay.
far. And
We
we
did-
have some issues coming up with the airport that could be kind of sticky, and I'm just saying, as a resident of this valley, and what Dennis Jensen said, we had a room full of residents in a meeting recently, and they were very adamant. You were there, Eric. They were very adamant about Wasatch County residents making decisions for this airport. So that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
I think, Trace, I think you very effectively articulated the need to clarify that current bylaw. There has been historically a lot of questions about it, and I think we're past the time where we can define what that means.
And if we have to send it to the city council to make that decision, fine, but that's where I'm getting uncomfortable, so,
We need to
thank
look
you.
at that and just say, this is what it means. So I agree completely with you.
Yeah, thanks.
I'd like to just say I agree with what Tracy said also.
Okay. Back to the discussion. So Dave, just to clarify on one, we need to insert at the discretion of the,
Mayor with the approval
With the
of the
approval of
city
the-
council.
can you make that note?
I have that typed up in the-
Okay.
Sorry, does that alter the recommendation that we made?
No, the recommendation that we made was different than what
You
you're.
want it at the discretion of the mayor with approval of the city council. Is
Yeah,
that-
the mayor appoints the city
I
council.
don't know that five recommendations been made. This is an attempt
This
to,
is an attempt.
refine what was articulated last meeting and make sure it's,
What are recommendations?
This hasn't gone
represents what
to
your
the city
recommendation
council
council will be.
No,
No, I'm just asking whether the wording is consistent with what we had discussed last week.
you know,
I don't think it was that specific. This is the way the city attorney drafted.
he drafted it, we've got to